Well, it's time now for Voices of the Region. Each week we hear from a journalist in the region about the stories they're covering. This week, Timberjay Publisher Marshall Helmberger from Tower is our guest.
Businesses and representatives of the city's Chamber of Commerce and their Economic Development Authority were talking this week about trying to find ways that they can help area businesses find workers. It's been a great summer, tourist wise, it's been an incredibly busy summer in Ely and Tower and all the places up here. But businesses have really struggled to meet the demand for services. Restaurants have been particularly hard hit, and many are being forced to close earlier or open later. Often they're closed entire days, entire weekends in some cases, because of the unavailability of staffing. And that's a huge issue because this is peak time right now for businesses. This is when the businesses up here make their money. And to not be able to serve the demand that's there is really frustrating for a lot of folks. Right now, the Chamber has been talking about trying to promote the use of J1 visas. And this is a program that allows workers, typically younger workers from other countries, to come in for seasonal work. And it's often used in tourist areas. It's been used for years on the North Shore. One of the things that the Chamber's looking at doing is assisting businesses with the J1 visa program application. It's probably a little bit cumbersome for folks who aren't used to doing that. And so there's a little learning curve, I guess. And so the Chamber's thinking maybe they can help folks out so they can maybe make applications for next year. Obviously, it's too late to solve the problem for this year, but then there's really no sign that this is going away. Up in our neck of the woods, basically northern St. Louis County, the new goals call for deer population increases, ranging from 25% in the Cook Lake Vermilion area, which is known as Deer Permit Area 177. That's kind of a popular one up here, to 75% increases in far northern St. Louis County. That's an area that has really struggled to see any kind of a rebound in the deer herd. And the interesting thing is the call for increasing numbers of deer is likely to translate into more conservative bag limits for hunters, at least in the short term, since the DNR typically restricts harvest in permit areas that are currently below goal. So really all of the permit areas up here would be considered below goal right now. So we're probably not going to see very aggressive harvest levels up here for sure. The goals set up here really appear to reflect the attitudes expressed by hunters more than landowners. Now, as part of this goal setting process, the DNR did send surveys out to roughly 500 hunters in each deer permit area, and those are hunters who had previously hunted there. And they also sent surveys out to a slightly smaller number of landowners. And while results varied by the permit area, landowners expressed considerably less enthusiasm for higher deer numbers than did hunters. All visitors now to the Superior National Forest, and that includes the Boundary Waters, are going to need to store their food properly to help protect wild bears, essentially to discourage wild bears from, getting into their packs. Bears have been known to do that, and the Forest Service doesn't like those situations. Oftentimes it leads to bears having to be taken out if they're causing too many problems in campgrounds. And so they're trying to discourage that. So they initiated a food storage order, and this went into effect July 30th. And it's because they've been seeing an increase in human-bear interactions, and that's a problem. And a couple of factors appear to be at work here, according to wildlife biologists on the Superior. And one is that the Forest Service has been more aggressive in asking people to report bear interactions, whether positive or negative. At the same time, that late hard freeze that we had this spring, combined with the severe drought, has really taken a whack at the berry and nut crop. And of course, that means the bears are not finding the food in the usual places they turn to this time of year. And so they're, out looking for other sources of food. So when we make it available near our campsites, it's not a surprise that they're going to take advantage. This new order requires people to hang their food packs at least 12 feet above the ground, or use a bear-resistant container. That might be available at some more established campgrounds, but obviously you're not going to carry something like that, I don't think, into the boundary waters. So folks are going to have to make sure they're bringing ropes, and the Forest Service is even suggesting a type of pulley that you can bring that'll help to hang these packs in a way that bears can't get to them. So, it's been a challenging summer. We just talked about how businesses are having to close in Ely because they can't find staff. And then if you're in the boundary waters right now, you've got issues with bears. You have extremely low water levels, which is making travel on some, normally very traversable routes this time of year almost impossible. And then, of course, we have these large-scale closures from forest fires. So, it's been a pretty challenging summer for folks trying to get into the boundary waters.